All right. I appreciate you guys being here today. What we want to talk about today is we've come off the backs of a few multi-week series on lead generation, marketing, and then conversion. So today, what we're going to talk about is if you've gone through that process and done a good job and you're to the presentation part, whatever that may be, you need to have that nailed down. And part of that is overcoming objections. So it's March 10th. We're heading into spring, summertime. People are starting to be on the move again. But what you have to realize, it doesn't matter what month, what day, what week. If you put the effort into your business, time, energy, resources, you will get returns. Another thing that came up this week is don't feel like that you've got or your partners have to learn everything. I'm still learning. We're all still learning. Just take a look at this as a school. And you get paid to go to school. You earn a degree in disruption, digital distribution, digital marketing. And whereas most of the time people borrow money to go to school, would come out with a degree that is pretty much worthless, your degree here can equal some lifetime passive income for you. So like I said, just take it day by day, continue to learn, continue to get better, sharpen your skill set, and things will happen for you. Discipline equals dollars. And like I said, it doesn't matter what time of the year we're at. If you're willing to, dig down, come to each day with intention, aggressiveness, energy to do what you want to do and accomplish what you want to accomplish, that's really the crux of it all. If you're dialed in and you're disciplined enough, money's going to follow. Remember, on the other side, it takes almost as much work, maybe even more work, to procrastinate your way through everything that you're trying to do, because then you're just going to continue to feed yourself excuses, and then it piles up. And procrastination, like this says, it's like a credit card. It's a lot of fun until you get the bill. So remember, you are responsible for your activity, your attitude. Those things that you can control is what you should be concentrating on. So last week, just real quick, we ended a multi-week series on conversion. And specifically, we talked about last week, monitoring your steps along the conversion staircase to see where you are, how things look, using smart technology in both sides of your business, conversion as conversation, why that actually matters, management conversion to create independence. Remember, you don't want people counting on you forever. Organizational development requires 3 key components. And then Alana finished us off with Facebook and LinkedIn organic lead generation process. Once again, this is always in the YouTube, Facebook group if you need to go back. Before we get into what I want to talk about today, I want to go through, because I've had some questions about the business building side in terms of, what do I do? What's too much? How do I know when to turn people loose? You're a talent scout, and that might not be a skill set that you have coming in here, but you will develop it over time. And then you'll be able to say, okay, this person is worth pursuing. This person is not. But ultimately, as a talent scout, you're trying to bring in the most talented people that can help you get to your organizational goals by helping them achieve their personal goals. So you want to start turning those long-term relationships from no into later. And like I said, if you find somebody, it's a good fit, don't pussyfoot around. Make sure they understand what you're able to offer them, the benefits of forming this relationship, and bring in the right types of people. Another thing that we've really helped out on in terms of when you look at a business build out, the number one reason for failure in the sales is an empty pipeline. And the root cause of an empty pipeline is failure to prospect. So we've actually taken care of those in 2 ways. We've solved the prospecting problem in 2 major ways. Number one, it's the way that we prospect, the tools and the approach, the way we talk to people. And then number 2, we actually champion the cause of part-timers. Most companies out there, they want you a full-time commitment, maybe even more. We'll champion the cause of part-timers, allow somebody to build part-time, absorb the roles they don't have time for, they don't know how to do, they just simply don't want to do, and create a bridge for them to come over into full-time entrepreneurship. That's very important. And then the whole process of understanding how a partnership might be something that will benefit both parties, it goes back to that same pyramid that we're using on both sides of our business. The rapport gains trust and credibility, gets them talking. They're going to give you information. You'll uncover a problem. You can offer a solution and then an action step. If you master this pyramid, you master, prospecting, recruiting, those things that bring in organizational growth. Remember, as you're talking to partners, they want two things. We all really want two things as we go forward in life. We want more money and an easier life. So when you start talking simplistically about how to gain these type of things that people are looking for, it becomes easier to get that yes formula started where it's leading down into the videos, which, like we talked about in the conversion, that's your first target objective, is to open that conversation and get out some information that can be reviewed for a follow-up. When you're talking to people, they're at different places in their professional careers. What is it that they want? Not everybody wants the same thing. You have to uncover what they want. How are they possibly going to get there? How long is it going to take? And how do you fit in that scenario? For potential clients, I organize it around, the thought of, do they know how money works? Well, statistically speaking, most everybody does not know how money works. So when I'm talking to potential clients, that's the main crux, the education, financial literacy, how money works, educating them into, making decisions, better decisions, including some buying decisions for products and services that we have on our side. And then for potential partners, what is your digital plan? Guys, this is very important. The last 25 years, the wealth has been created by innovation, digital disruption, technology. So how are they either positioning themselves now or in the future to capitalize on this moment in time? Remember, when somebody shies away from the money part as motivating, and we understand, money can't be the only motivating factor, but most people, they never get wealthy because they don't recognize the opportunities in front of them. And then on the other side, wealth is not about having a lot of money. It's not about having zeros and commas in your accounts. It's about having a lot of options. We all want options. We all want freedom. It's how you paraphrase some of the language that you use to make sure people understand, what is the real reason that I would go and do this, X, Y, Z. A practice versus a business. Remember, self-employed is usually one person or maybe a couple people working together. That's not what we're advocating here. We're advocating build your business and build your assets. Remember, self-employed, you can work your whole life and then sell your business for, a couple times earnings and you're done. That's it. When you build a business that you can walk away from that pays you passive income as a cash flow asset for years and years and years, well, what does that do? Well, that creates options for you. And then finally, you have to understand that when we're starting a business and we don't have offices, appointments, physical appointments, conventions on the physical standpoint, all of these things, they save us time and they save us money. Both that time and that money can be reinvested into our business in beneficial ways. And then the last thing I'll kind of go over with you guys before we go into handling objections is there's some questions that you need to be able to ask potential partners that gets them thinking about where they are and where they want to go, or how am I going to get to where I want to go? If somebody's in sales and they're working on their own, do they want to be X years of age and still be out there doing sales? Now, they may like doing sales. That's not the question. Do they want to be out there having to do sales? And do you want to be, X years old and still have to be out there selling? That's the real key to this, because you're never going to create any type of freedom for yourself if it's all on your shoulders. How long have you been in business? How long have you been doing what you've been doing? What do you have to show for it? And really, what's your plan going forward? Many people, unfortunately, don't have much to show for what they put into whatever it is that they've devoted their time to. And our job is to help them understand, hey, you can create another multiple stream of income. You can go out another route without having to quit what you're already doing. But on your current course, it doesn't look like you're going to get to where you want to go. And then how do you keep them once they come in here? That was a question. How do we keep top talent? Well, top talent, we keep them by allowing them to make money, allowing them to build and foster their own relationships. And then we lock people in through ownership. If you got ownership in something and it's working for you, you're not leaving. And what does that mean for you, your company, our organization? Well, it stops turnover. I'm not talking about that person that you bring in that does absolutely nothing and falls off. I'm talking about turnover for good people once they start coming in and actually seeing results. It keeps good people and it keeps good talent. They don't have to leave because they're not working for anybody but themselves. Listen, guys, there are tons of places to go to be a salesman, be a personal producer. This is not what this opportunity is about. And we'll get into what I want to talk about. This is the first week of, coming off conversions. And we talked about, If I've done my job in lead generation and marketing, and I've done my job around the staircase of the pipeline of conversion, the last real thing is the close. Whether I'm dealing with partners, clients, whatever it might be, you got to have a game plan. And some of this stuff, I don't like to use this many words in a presentation, but it's important that you guys have things beside you that you can pull up. Even though we're a digital company, having a notebook beside you, a 3-ring binder with some stuff printed out, is going to help you in some of these conversations when you feel like it's going nowhere or you're stuck. One of the things that we can do is be simplistic. Be simplistic in your approach from A to Z. And that means when you are handling objections, you're rebuttaling, you're in sales presentations, you need to learn how to listen, ask questions, and say less. And when it is your time to speak, give the answers in a clear, concise way. Don't give a bunch of hypothetical situations and take the conversation into somewhere where it really shouldn't have gone. 5 most common sales objections. It's not in the budget. How do I know it works? Yeah, but will it work for me? I've never heard of you before, and I already use something similar. All of these things have ways that you can combat or rebuttal these things, but it basically breaks down to these 5 things. You're looking at budget, authority, need, timeliness, and value. So on budget, we've got to demonstrate value. On authority, we've got to identify the customer, the potential client's concern, and address that specific issue. That's important, guys. Don't go on a tangent here. The need, take some extra time to describe the problem or the opportunity. And the timeliness, this is where you create urgency. Demonstrate it's best to make the purchase or the decision right now. Remember, adding time to any decision is not going to make it any better. And then value. You've got to introduce specific perks, guarantees, return policies, whatever it might be. If you do not uncover the why, the motivating factor, the pain point, whatever it might be, you're never going to be able to handle a lot of this in terms of getting the quality percentages on the back end that are going to get your organization built. So on clients, on partners, we're always, always, always uncovering the why. And if we can't, we really shouldn't even go forward. Uncovering the why, there's going to be a surface level. And then there's going to be a symptom, and you're getting closer. When you get to the true root cause or the underlying cause of the objection or the issue, that's when you can peel it back and actually start to make some progress here. All right, so let's go through some of this stuff. And like I said, this is great verbiage for you guys to have, whether you're dealing with partners, clients. Get better at what you do. Number 1, ask for the sale. If you've gone through the process of creating leads, converting them through the pipeline, and now you're to this point, once you're confident the solution is there for their problem, it's time to ask for the sale. If you don't ask for the sale, guess what? They're not going to tell you it's time. At least not a large percentage of the people are going to tell you it's time for the sale. And then the assumptive close. You got to arrange the next steps. Remember, framing conversations, telling people what's going to happen allows them to understand and fall in line, or tell you early on why they can't. And then that helps you with lead resolution. So finalizing the signing or the additional paperwork, setting up the new client, all of these next steps. Remember, asking for the sale and the sales closing questions. So sales closing questions are used to basically seal the deal. You're right there. You've done all your work. You've got a solution. You deserve to get paid. Questions require direct answers. So it looks like we've answered all the questions. Shall we move forward with this? Some of this stuff is simple and basic, guys, but it works. You said you want to get this done and off your to-do list. Let's figure out how we need to do this today. Help me understand your process and how you make these decisions. So if you're not really understanding what's going on, sometimes it's okay just to ask them, hey, can you walk me through how you make decisions so I can help understand and maybe, help you? Is there any reason, if we gave you what you were looking for, that you would not do business with our company? Let's move forward with this. It seems like whatever product or service you have is a good fit for you. What do you think? You're getting some, reaffirmation, some confirmation from their side. They understand what's going on. They understand the solution, et cetera. And they're, we're ready to move forward. If we can find a way to deal with whatever that objection is, would you apply? Would you move forward? This is all, hey, goes back to the very front negotiation. If I can do this, you want to watch a couple videos, same thing here. Hey, if I can find a way to deal with your objection, we're going to move forward on this, right? Would you like my help with this? And then taking all your requirements and desires into consideration, I think that this product, these two products, if you've got multiple options here, would work best for you. Would you like to go with A, B, X, Y, whatever it might be? So answering them directly, sometimes giving choices, and then the negative consequences. Remember, there's a decision to be made. If they don't make the right decision, there's going to be some negative consequences. So I hate to see whatever that negative consequence is happen to you for you not having the right product in place. Do you want to take the crucial step to protect you and your financial future today? Why don't you apply and see if this is an option, whether you're dealing with policies that require underwriting or you're dealing with things that need to have, credit checks, whatever it might be. If there's an application, then just apply to see if it's an option. That's one way to get the ball moving. I know you said you need to have a solution in place. Does this work? You're requiring them to respond with answers, guys. Will you commit to doing business with me, our company, us today? Ready to move forward? I can assist you with the application. What happens next? I know that, whatever it is we're talking about is a really big priority for most people. The solution will be able to help meet your goals. Do you believe I understand your current needs and future goals? Guys, this is important because what you're realizing here is that we talk about this. Most salespeople don't close the deal because the other side, that potential client, does not feel they've done enough to uncover, learn about them, their problem, to where they can actually offer a solution. So sometimes you want to make sure you've done that. Do you believe I understand your current needs and future goals? From a scale of 1 to 10, tell me how ready you are to move forward. What else can I tell you to help you? Unless you have any more questions or concerns, I think we're ready to get started. I'm excited to work with you. Let's discuss what happens next. Tell me your thoughts. Let's get you signed up. All of these things are requiring, us to move forward, or give me a reason why we can't. And if somebody's really just kind of, a lot of people procrastinate. We're very good at procrastinating. We're very good at, kicking the can down the road. Sometimes you have to let them realize, hey, I've got X amount mapped out for this meeting. I've got to, wrap this up in Y amount of time. With that in mind, maybe you should actually move to the next step, the application, whatever it might be, the cart checkout. When can we begin whatever it is that we're doing? If I were to start an application, would you feel confident applying? Have I done enough today to earn your business? If people are, the follow-up, and you guys always tell me the follow-up, I struggle with the follow-up and it's something that, I'm not very good at. Well, when you're playing phone tag for a while, you've got to just say, stop the follow-up mentality. It's following up, not to follow up, but follow up to actually resolve the lead. Am I right assuming this is not a priority for you right now? What does this protection mean to you? What does this product mean to you? What does it mean to your family? Which of the following are you most interested in learn more about? That's a way that you can segment things. Do you currently have a budget allocated for this solution, or will you have to make the case for one? Guys, this is all just very, very straightforward language. What is your budget? Is this price range within your budget? What are the best days, times to follow up with you to take you on the next steps throughout this process? Is there anyone else in your company you liked, or anybody else you need the spouse around, anybody else who helps you make decisions to include in these discussions? And then one of the most common issues we hear about is blank. This is preemptive. If you've got a lot of people giving you the same objection, preemptively overcome that. What's your timeline? What's your biggest priorities? What's prompting you to do something about this challenge opportunity right now? How urgent is the issue? Are you exploring any other options or consulting with any other solution in our industry? You want to know if you've got competition. What is it about the competitor? If they're already using a product that they're considering using it, that you're considering them for. You want to know why they're making that decision. What's the best way to communicate with you going forward? Do you have any concerns I can address at this time based on what I've described? Do you believe what I'm able to offer you can address your wants and needs? Does this sound like something that would be beneficial to you and your family? Right now, what would you say that could stop us from working together? Just more of this stuff, guys. This is stuff you just want to have in a notebook. Like I said, as you're taking people through the process and trying to resolve leads or trying to go through the presentation to close sales, this stuff will help you. Do you have any concerns about how this would work? Are you all set to review the application, move forward? If we can find an option in your price range, is there any reason you wouldn't work with me today? Has our service lived up to the expectations? So that's all language you can use. Handling objections, you should welcome objections, guys. That means that they're actually, a lot of those objections are just buying questions. They're hidden as objections. So objections are a way for your prospect to express their needs and desires. They're in a roundabout way telling you what they want. That's important. If you give somebody what they want, it's going to be hard to say no. And it's often just a request for some more information. So do not be afraid of the objection. The objection is actually something you should welcome. There's two types of objections. Number one is a misunderstanding. This can be easily cleared up by asking the client how they interpreted the information you gave them and then explaining the actual situation to them. Guys, during this time, if there's a misunderstanding, slow down, speak slowly, speak clearly to make sure they're following you. Don't get flustered and speed up, because this is an important part. Misunderstandings, once they're cleared up, can lead to buying decisions. Valid objections, the other thing. A valid objection is often triggered by the fear of making the wrong decision. And really, that's what everybody's fearful of. I don't want to make the wrong decision, look like a fool or an idiot. This is typically the last step in the buying decision or the buying process. And in sales, an objection should be welcome as a sign they're actually ready to buy. For operations, an objection likely indicates a prospect's fear or concern for the unknown. Remember, making the wrong decision and being fearful of the unknown, two objections that you should be able to easily overcome. So this is what we have to do. And this is just a process. Everything's that we try to teach you guys is a systemic, mathematical kind of way of approaching this that really works. So listen to the objection. Repeat the objection. So what you're saying or what you're telling me is that you don't feel that you can do whatever it might be. Acknowledge their concern, guys. Don't brush it off. Hey, that's a reasonable concern. I understand why you have that concern. Clarify the objection by asking a question. Remember, getting them participating in the communication is vitally important. Do you not see the value in the product? I recommend, or that you're concerned about the cost. So that's an important part. Is it cost, or do they not understand the value? Explain your answer. Verify that you've actually cleared the objection. You want to make sure you do this. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? And then move on to the next step, which is the close or another objection. Like I said, this is very easy because once you pick off all the objections, all the misunderstandings, you should have a close. For each objection, you got to repeat the process until there's none left. Like I just said, you go through the entire process of every misunderstanding, every objection, until there's absolutely zero left, which means there's zero reasons not to move forward. Is the objection a problem that can be reframed as an opportunity? Is it a weakness that can be renamed or reframed as a strength? And poor timing that can be reframed as perfect timing. So remember, there's alternate ways to look at things. Most people have a fixed mindset. So you have to learn how to kind of help them understand things can be looked at in two different ways. And really demonstrate urgency. And this is the thing that we have to get better at. If you have a sense of urgency, if you want something to happen, demonstrate that urgency to your prospect. And if you're frustrated at the lack of their response, but you waited 2 weeks to reach out, you're not demonstrating urgency from your side. So increase the frequency of the attempts. You can do a lot of things, but here's some outreach ideas for your calls. Yeah, I just want to follow up on the status. Do you have any feedback from the meeting? Do I have the correct? So remember, it's not just always about those pitches in terms of the voicemails, the texts, the emails. Sometimes it's straightforward, and a lot of times less is better. Ask for help. So if you're getting stuck at certain parts of the process and you don't understand why, it's probably something that you're doing that you probably don't even know you're doing. So what you want to do is ask for help. Don't be afraid to get a teammate, partner, upline out there to help you. Sometimes just another voice, another a person being brought into the mix, that can really help. These strategies can turn stalled deals from frustrating to promising and finally get you over the finish line. So always ask for help if you need it. And like we talked about earlier, being simplistic, when you're communicating with people, your lengthy explanations that you've learned all about this company and this product are killing your ability to close sales deals, bring in partners, get people to the next steps. You have to learn how to keep your mouth shut Answer questions like we talk about in a clear, concise way. Make sure that they understand that was answered so you can move on. But don't go into, like I said, a diatribe about all these other hypothetical situations that might happen. Answer it and move on. Another thing that, if you are worried about, having people, if you're worried about the fear of failure, if you're worried about objections, all of this stuff is going to be conquered by getting on the phone and actually having conversations. If you practice anything for a long enough period of time, you will get good at it, whether that's a good habit or a bad habit. Anything that you pick up and you practice, you're going to get better at it. And by talking to more people, hearing more objections, hearing more misunderstandings, just talking to people, you become an expert on this. And the key point of this is not just for you. People are going to be relying on you as you build these organizations, branch offices, sales teams, whatever you want to call it. And you've got to be in a position when you're called upon as a leader to be able to fit, walk into and fit into that role. Success, guys, is always going to be awarded to those willing to do the uncomfortable stuff. Handling objections, handling misunderstandings, walking somebody through 6-7 objections till you've got them all, nailed down and handled to get the sales is not an easy process. It's a learned process, but you become good at it. And once you become good at it, the money really starts to come in and you're able to teach other people. Next week, we're going to get into more about, handling objections, what some of these objections really mean and what people are telling you, because all the time that they're telling you, words, language, communication, sometimes like we talked about, or a lot of times it's not the true root cause. And you have to be able to peel that onion back and get to exactly, what it is that they're saying subconsciously through those words that you can help overcome until you've got it all nailed down.